Hey, what's going on, guys? Thank you again for joining me and taking time out to see my videos. If you like my stuff, if you find my videos informative and you just enjoy the content, please think about subscribing, like and comment, and share the video. I wanted to talk about something that has been bothering me over the last couple of days, especially with this failed coup attempt by the puppet Guaido. You know, President Bolton and Vice President Pompeo, obviously I'm being facetious, are constantly pushing the narrative that we need to go in to Venezuela, stop socialism, things like that. As a long Bernie supporter, he is so frustrating when it comes to foreign policy. I understand that he is leading with domestic policy. He's leading with it. But we can't get any of those policies. And I said it before in other videos. We can't get those policies unless we change our foreign policy, because they will always go back to we can't afford it. We can't afford it, we can't afford it, we can't afford it. And if we change our foreign policy and cut back on the wasteful spending on the military-industrial complex, we can possibly have, maybe not all at one time, but we can start with maybe a Medicare for all, an infrastructure bill that actually goes to our infrastructure and not to billionaires that Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer were giggling either it was today or yesterday that they are going to spend. They were asking for $2 trillion for infrastructure, but that sounds all well and good, but I don't trust them as far as I can throw them. Probably most likely it's going to be the majority of the money will be going to their billionaire buddies and contracts that will take 20 years to get something built. You know how stuff goes. All the red tape, whatever. But this Venezuelan thing is very frustrating because obviously it's for oil. Obviously it's so Russia and China don't have any influence in our side of the hemisphere, on the Western Hemisphere. There's so many things to why they're trying to do this. Obviously, the defense contractors need more money and they need another war. So they're trying to get us to go against Iran, Venezuela, Cuba, all those scary places. And Bernie has been frustrating, to say the least, because he's been silent on a lot of these issues when it comes to, he said in his town hall, we should, the government should, the people of Venezuela should figure it out. But that's one time. Tulsi Gabbard has been on the side of peace for Venezuela forever. Since she's been running, she hasn't been afraid to go after the generals, the Pompeos, the Boltons, the Abrams. She hasn't been afraid to go after them. She hasn't been afraid to go after President Trump, on Saudi Arabia, on the genocide in Yemen. I'm going to read you 2 tweets, and I'm going to read them right now, and then we're going to talk about her stance in this. Let's read these. I'm going to read these to you real quick, and I took a picture of them so you can actually read it with me.
The United States needs to stay out of Venezuela. Let the Venezuelan people determine their future. We don't want other countries to choose our leaders, so we have to stop trying to choose theirs. As a soldier who knows the horrible cost of war, I call on both sides in Venezuela to resolve their differences peacefully. We should always be ready to sit and speak with adversaries. Civil war in Venezuela would result in unimaginable suffering and undermine the U.S. national security.
This woman is fearless. Fearless when it comes, because you don't understand how much it takes for her to go against the establishment, to go against the DNC, to go against the Democratic machine and the war machine. It's like political suicide, basically, to go against the military-industrial complex, because both parties are united on that front. They increase military spending. It's about $700 billion. Mike Gravel, real quick, donate to Mike Gravel. We need him on the debate stage. This guy is a champion. He is a anti-war. He is a rock star. Back to what I was saying. It's more, he even pointed out that it's more like $1 trillion. So we're spending $1 trillion. Let's just go with that number. $1 trillion on the military-industrial complex. And we're just over and over and over, just perpetual war, bombings, drones, regime change in Syria, Libya, on and on and on and on and on. And there's one politician, sometimes Rand Paul is good on these issues, but Rand Paul, he bends the knee a lot to the Republican Party. Tulsi Gabbard, on every chance she gets, calls out the war hawks, warmongers on both sides. She's had videos taken down because she has pointed out that most of her smears come from the Democratic Party. And she's running for president because she has to. She doesn't want to be president. She has to be president. That's how she's running her campaign. This is not a bucket list for her. This is not something like, you know what? I want to be president. She's light years better on foreign policy than Bernie Sanders. And I don't know, deep down inside, I'm afraid that he'll compromise to get a Medicare for all or something like that. I have a good feeling that Tulsi won't back down. Who knows? I can't tell the future, because if I did, I would hit the lotto numbers like constantly, and I'll be set for life. But I can't tell the future. But my gut tells me if Tulsi Gabbard is the nominee and goes against Trump and beats President Trump, and becomes president, she won't back down. She'll take on the elites. She'll take on the military-industrial complex. She'll take on the deep state, because she'll have the backing of the American people, united on this front. And a lot of the people on all sides of the spectrum, political spectrum, agree that we should stop these anti-regime change wars. We all agree. The majority of us agree. I should say that. Agree that we need to start putting America first, and not spreading ourselves so thin that we can't take care of our own here. We can't take care of our homeless on the streets. We can't take care of veterans properly. We can't take care of the hungry children in poverty, or our grandmothers and grandfathers in their retirement age. We are the greatest country in the world, the richest, most powerful country in the world, 2 times the size of China. And you're telling me that we can't have things that smaller countries have? Universal health care, at least 2 weeks paid vacation, child care, universal child care. universal health care. You're telling me that we can't have that? Tuition-free public colleges? I know I'm ranting a little bit here, maybe a lot, but I just wanted to point out that there has been one politician in the race that has been 100% on the right side of Venezuela, on Syria, on Libya. She wants to stop these regime change wars. She wants to stop putting our men and women in uniform in harm's way for no goddamn reason. She wants to stop it. And I want to stop it. That's why I believe she's light years ahead of Bernie Sanders in foreign policy. And I know all the Bernie Sanders supporters. I'm with you. I love Bernie's domestic policy. But Tulsi's foreign policy and her domestic policy go hand in hand. You need to address the foreign policy issues if you want to address our domestic issues. That's where I'm coming from. And that's why I support Tulsi Gabbard. Share the video. Let me know what you think in the comments. Do you agree with me on Bernie's foreign policy stances, or and do you agree with Tulsi Gabbard's, or do you agree with Tulsi Gabbard's policy stance? You let me know in the comments. Always, you guys take care and peace.